Okay, so today we're going to learn how to use a box loom. This is a beautiful box loom made from moss scrollwork. If you want one of these looms, you can contact them on Facebook. Generously provided to our historical society for us to use and teach people on. And we're going to start with looking at patterns to put on our loom. So we're using this book. You can use just about any ankle pattern book. This one is actually for box looms, but I'll show you the difference between an ankle pattern and a box loom pattern. We're going to be using the pattern for this checkered board, and tape was used prior to the invention of Scotch tape and Velcro and zip strips and bungee cords for just about everything around the home. So tape was very, very important to everybody until those inventions came around. So here's our pattern of how we're going to set up our loom. So you're going to see here that it says hole versus slot. That tells us what color of string to put where. So we're going to put a white in the hole. The next string is going to be a blue in the slot. A white in the hole, blue in a slot. White, blue, white, blue, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white. So that's how we're going to put our strings in. In an ankle book, ankle pattern book, instead of hole versus slot, you're going to see heddled versus unheddled. So that's going to be, your heddled will be your hole and your unheddled will be your slot, and you'll see why that is later. One string is movable and one string is stationary. It's also going to tell you how many strands you're going to need. So for this one, you're going to need 16 strands. So on your loom, this is called a rigid heddle. You're going to need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we've got more than enough to do this. But you're going to want to start where it's in the middle. You don't want to start 16 over and be working completely over on this side. It just won't feel right. So you're going to want to figure out where your center is. Do your math, half this way and half this way. And that's where you're going to put your strands in. Okay, we're going to talk about yarn for a minute. So a lot of people like to use crochet thread. There's two types of crochet thread. You've got number 10 crochet thread, which is pretty much what is standard everybody crochets with. It's pretty thin. It's not very thick stuff. There's another crochet thread that's a size 3 crochet thread. It's a lot thicker. You can sort of kind of tell that the diameter is thicker. I like to weave with the number 3. There's nothing wrong with weaving with the number 10, but you're going to have a much smaller product when you get done weaving. So that's what I like, is the number 3. Today we're going to be weaving with linen. Linen is a nice sturdy product. And on the pattern book, I'm going to substitute white and blue for white and purple. Now, when you choose your yarn, you want to give it a little yank like this. You want to make sure it doesn't break on you. If you go with your standard Red Heart yarn and your acrylics and you go like this, it's probably going to break on you. You're putting a lot of tension on your warp threads. And what we're doing is warping the loom, which is the first step. Now, if you don't have a good strong thread, it's going to break on you. So do yourself a favor, get the strong stuff. Don't even try to weave with the weak stuff. You're also going to need a few tools. So see how I have my tape on my little bag? You can make one of these. All it is basically a needle threader, some jewelry wire doubled over, just like a needle threader that you buy in the store for sewing, and a large bead. So a needle threader, for these little tiny holes, push that through the hole. You go to the other side. I grab some yarn here so we can show you. Put your yarn through the needle threader. And then pull it out the other side. Now that hole has been threaded. Okay. The other thing that you're going to need, this is really simple to find. It's going to be a business card or a card from the grocery store where you get your discounts. You know, they sign you up and you get a plastic card. Any kind of little card will do. So to thread the slots, you put your string around your card, push it through the slot, string comes out the other side, and voila, the slot is done. Now, you can see that the one in the slot, or the unheddled, is the one that moves. The one that's in the hole is going to be stationary. So that's what I meant by before when I said that you're going to have a stationary string and a movable string. That creates the shed that we're going to be weaving back and forth throughout. Now, there's two words that you need to know. One is warp, which is what we're doing right now. We're warping the loom. And one is weft. So when you're weaving back and forth, you're using the weft. So to keep those two words separate, I put them in alphabetical order. Warp, W-A, comes first. You warp your loom first. And then once you're done warping, you weft by weaving. W-E, weft, and W-E with the weaving. So that way I sort of kind of keep it straight in my head because they're so similar, it's hard to keep those straight when you're a beginner. So am I talking warp or am I talking weft? Okay, the other tool that you're going to need is a shuttle. This may or may not come with your loom, but they're pretty easy to make. Drill a big hole, cut it out, drill a big hole, cut it out, and then file down the edge. Okay, they're fairly simple to make. That's all you need to get started. So we're going to take a break here and then we'll start on warping the loom.